Hello everyone and welcome to Heroes of Might and Magic 5 campaign tier list. I recently finished the entire campaign and I thought that it might be fun to do a tier list of individual campaigns. Before we start, I want to say that I enjoyed all of them. All of them are good. So even if I will put some in D tier, let's say, it doesn't mean it is a bad campaign. It just means that it is not as good as the other ones. So let's start. The Queen, Isabel's campaign. Basically the tutorial campaign that teaches the player the mechanics, which is also the problem because the half of the campaign is doing the simple things and not getting into the action. And while the fourth and fifth mission are very nice, can also be quite difficult to spike. I don't think that because the first three missions were pure tutorial, it can go very high, but it will go into a solid B tier. The next one is the Cultist, Agrel's campaign. This one is not that great. The problem with the Demon campaign is that there are three missions that are just run from point A to point B. And the other type of mission is kill hordes of elves while having only a single town. And it's not bad, it just can get quite repetitive, and it's only a single major enemy, the elves. Here and there you fight some demons, but yeah, because of this, it's sadly, but it's D tier. Next one, the Necromancer. And this one is very nice. Very unique mission design, I must say. Every mission is quite different from the other. In the first mission, you fight, I think, three different factions. You have the Academy, you have the humans, you have the Dark Elves. Also, you have to dodge the heroes instead of fighting them, so quite unique. And then the rest of the campaign, you don't only play the Necromancer, but also the human. So you can play the Isabel or Godric, which is a very interesting change. And it works because you are playing Necromancers. So you are creating your army as you go, which also works with Markal's ability that all undead units are just joining him. So he's just creating army as he goes. The only problem with this campaign, at least for me, is that there can be too much academy to fight, which is not ideal because you are necromancer and academy has the two units that you can resurrect, the gargoyles and golems. But even because of that, I think that it is a very solid A tier. It is a good campaign. Next one, the Warlock. Relac. This is also a very nice campaign. And I would say this is the opposite of the Demon one, where you have only a single city. In this campaign, you can have multiple cities on multiple maps. The first mission is also very interesting where you have time limit to prepare and then you just go to brawl. Then the other missions, the last missions, are fighting against demons. So there are some different factions to fight, but overall it might get a little tiring to fight only basically dark elves on dark elves with a sprinkle of demons. But even with that, I think it is a much better campaign than the Inferno one, and it just deserves an A tier. Next one is the Ranger. We play as a Findan. I really enjoy this one. And Findan has also quite different missions. First one you defend. The second one you conquer the map. The third one you defend and conquer the map. The fourth one is going from point A to point B. And the fifth one is, well, conquering the map with a boss fight. So every mission is different, very different. And there are also a lot of different enemies to fight. And it switches. Like the first mission is necromancers and demons. The second missions are necromancers. No, the second missions are demons. The third are necromancers. The fourth are demons again, and then it's necromancy. So you play with elves, but it switches. Where in the previous campaigns it was really just elves, 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 or dark elves, dark elves, dark elves. Here it switches so it doesn't feel as repetitive. The mission variety is nice. I think it deserves a tier. Very nice campaign. Then we have a mage, Zahir's campaign. And this is very funny because Zahir basically has only the half of the campaign for himself because the story needs to wrap up. So we have only the first mission, which is again, it's not timed, but it is timed by experience, where you have to choose where you want to go and what to fight, which is interesting. The second mission is just a big map for Zahir, so that he can get as much levels as you possibly can. And then the rest of missions is ganging him up with other heroes, just going after towns and clearing the maps, which can be very fun. You are getting Zahir, Finden, Godric, Relak, basically everyone, and doing the big boss fights. One thing that might feel a little weird is how everything is just on top of each other. Everything is just tying up. Like you are fighting Markal, then Isabel, then Biara, then Kabeleth. But even with that, I think this is a great campaign. And I think this is the first one that deserves S tier because of how many different heroes and playstyles and everything you can do in there. So, very good campaign. Next one, we have Rada's Dilemma. We are starting with dwarfs. This is basically the same, or at least similar to Isabel's campaign, in that the missions are trying to teach you the new units, the new game mechanics. And also, a big problem here is that you're mostly just fighting humans and sometimes demons. It introduces the dwarves, but I think it just suffers even more from the tutorials mission. And then it really repeats with the enemy variety. And because of that, it is worse than the Queen. It goes into C tier. We have Wolfstan's Defiance. And this one is a very fast campaign. I think this is the fastest campaign that is in the entire game. I finished multiple missions here just in like single hour or two. It feels way too fast, and it again tries to explain all the new mechanics of the dwarves. So it is tutorial for the dwarves. It's tutorial for the expansion. I just don't. It's not terrible, but compared to all the other campaigns, there's also not that much of variety. You are fighting either dwarves or humans. It's trying to be very story heavy, but because of that, it's yeah, I just cannot put it anywhere higher. I think it is the worst campaign out of all of them. Still, it doesn't mean it's a bad campaign, but it is the worst campaign of all the campaigns. Next one, Elias Quest. This one is similar to the Zahir's campaign, but the problem here is that Elia has way, way fewer heroes that were played before. So there was only Wolfstan and Freyda. So you get the first two missions, I think. It's basically just Freyda going from point A to point B, leveling her up. And then it is the first mission that is great. That is the free for all where there are multiple different races all fighting each other. I really enjoy that one. I think this is the only mission in Heroes where you have so many races just fighting. This mission is very fun, but then it goes back to Relak actually, and Ilya again just goes from point A to point B while there is defending. And the final mission is just all the heroes together trying to finish the campaign. Uh, it's too much. I don't think I don't think it is doing the job it wants to do. It is not being Zahir level of quality, I would say. There is too much in too little time. I have to put it in C tier. It is not D, it is C, yeah. Now we go into Tribes of the East. Rage of the Tribes. This will be funny because this is just a single mission of a single campaign. Urok. But the thing is that this mission does the tutorial part of teaching very well. You start with orcs and you are slowly and steadily just getting more and more orcs, teaching their entire mechanics in a single mission. The map is quite big. You have a boss fight at the end. It's not completely amazing, but it is good enough. I think for a campaign that is a single mission, it deserves B. It is just solid. It teaches you everything you need to know. It gives you a taste of the orcs that are coming. It just deserves B. Now, the Whale of Asha. And I will be very biased and I will say that this is my favorite campaign. And it does so many things. It is the first campaign, well, it is not the first campaign, but it is the first campaign that introduces like hero swapping, because in first mission you start as Ornella, in second mission you start as Aranter, and this just switches, which is amazing because both of them are quite different heroes. Ornella is for might, so she uses more the units, and Arantir is just mage, and it beautifully switches between missions. So the first one is just Ornella, like I said. You are introduced to all the undead mechanics, and then it goes into Arantir with a giant map, also with different enemies. Where in the first mission there were undeads and demons. In the second, it is Academy, and then the third map is again different, where you have Ornella and Arantir, and you play against humans. So again, a different enemy, and this is actually a linear mission, while the previous ones were, well, yeah, they were open. You could go many different ways, play them different way every time. So a different type of mission, which is very nice for variety. The fourth one again different. You play again as both of them, but this time usually Arantir is high level enough that you can send him somewhere else and do things with Ornella and her army, and we are fighting demons and orcs. So we are also introduced to orcs as enemies. So even more variety. And the final mission, which is just amazing, you start only with a single castle, I mean undead castle, and there is so many human castles that you can just transform all the units into undeads, make as big as an army as you want, and then just go for the big final fight. I am not ashamed to put this into S tier because it is just so amazing campaign. Love Arantir. Love Vilovasha. Next one. Honor Our Fathers. This tries to do similar thing with the hero switching for the first games of Will of Asha. The problem here is that it's basically two campaigns that you play with Gotai, then Kujin, then Gotai, then Kujin, then Gotai. So you don't connect these two. There is no like, let's fight together. The problem is basically that you have only 3 missions with Gotai and 2 with Kujin, and you are fighting with Kujin in the last mission. So while I think it is a great campaign, I don't like the switching in this way. Also, the first mission of Gotai is quite short, and the second mission with Kujin is just go from point A to point B, while Gotai has a much more interesting mission 3 and 5. It is a good campaign, but because of the reason that these two heroes will never meet, I don't think it is as good as Will of Asha, and it will get an A tier. Then we have Flying to Rescue, Zahir. Again. And Zahir is basically the same thing as before. He has his own mission, and then it's everything with all other heroes. But here he has only a single mission for himself. Playing against Dark Elves, then he has a half a mission for himself, because then you switch to Freda and Duncan, and you play as humans against demons, which is interesting, but where is Zahir? I liked it. It was interesting. The third mission was the dwarves. Yes, this is one mission that I didn't like that much. It it felt really long. You just basically stay back with Wolfstan and go and explore with Zahir. It was like two different things doing at once, but I don't know. It was strange. But the final mission was amazing. You got all the heroes like previously, but instead of fighting Kabbaleth, you are fighting just Biara and sieging all the towns with, who was it? It was Freda, it was Kujin, it was Elia, and I think there was a fourth one, and Wolfstan, of course. So beautiful, beautiful mission. I just don't think it is as good as the previous Zahir's campaign. The first mission was okay, but the third mission with Wolfstan is just not doing it for me. So because of that, I cannot put it in S tier. It is going into A tier. Still very good, but it is just not S tier. And the final one, Dark Messiah. This is basically another one mission campaign, the epilogue of the entire story, where you play as the Dark Messiah that was prophesied in all the campaigns. Well, not all of them, but it was at least in Arantir's campaign. It was in the campaign where was Kabbaleth that he was talking about it. And it is an interesting one. It is a very interesting one. It is the only mission in the entire game that has a player choice, which is very interesting. So the mission can end however you want it to end. And because of that, I will put it in B tier. It it is a quite long mission. I think it takes like 3 hours to complete. It it is not difficult, but it can be hard. But it is just not A tier worth it. Yeah, it is good mission. I think it is the same as the Kuroks one, just a solid campaign. And I think that's it. What do you think about this ranking? Is there anything that you would choose? Let me know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.